Hello, AMJ here back with another recap of today's fight card. Ankh versus Gustav. This. I woke up ready for this fight. I thought I was like, I know what I'm gonna do with my morning. I'm gonna watch this card, and I thought that was a good idea yesterday. And then I thought it was a good idea to also show my friends the card. So it's safe to say I'm getting dropped. No more. I'm done. And if your friends are also gonna drop you because you showed them this card, we're trying to get them into MMA. They hit the subscribe button. Let's just get into it. On to the main event. It was just predictable. Ankh won via TKO in the fifth round, and I'll talk about that. But I'll just give props to Ankh while I can before I dig into Gus. Because he looked good. He was dominating Gus like throughout the whole fight. But it was just so boring, and I can't blame Onk that much because his style is to counter punching, which is how he won against Pereira, is their first fight. And Gus just was not giving him the kind of opportunities for him to show off his striking abilities. He realized, oh wait, I could just wrestle him. Tired him out, trying to get the submissions. You didn't get them that fast, which is kind of surprising. Gus just like dead on the later half, and like it seems like Ankh wasn't really trying to go for his mission. Maybe he was trying to get the TKO because he wanted it. But anyways, Goddard stepped in there. To be honest, he could have done it later, but I think he knew that like if he didn't stop it right there, the fans, all the oil princesses in the crowd would not not give Dana White his money. They took time off of their favorite pastime of watching their slaves mine for oil. So if you watch this boring main event, they probably weren't that happy. So Goddard just knew he had to step in there, get the bag. Game recognizes the game. I get it, Goddard. But okay, but before I lay on to Gustav, yeah, Ankh did a really good job here. Now Gustav, you're the one who took this fight on short notice, okay? And you went in there looking like he just realized, like he didn't expect Ankh to be there. Like he went in there like scared for some reason. You signed the fight. You can't back out of it now. Like he's, Desmond Ross. I thought I didn't have to carry a weapon. You do, buddy. You signed it on short notice. You're the one. Young shouldn't have gone it. Young shouldn't have gone it. You should have declined it. But no, instead we got this where he he was clearly outclassed. The number one contender versus number 10 contender. Sometimes ranking doesn't matter, but still, um, Guskov was not winning this. Okay, we all knew this, but he could at least try, man. Like I think that all he did was kick the body and throw like at least one hand. But no, I don't know what Guskov should do. This card basically makes nothing without Khalil Roundtree. I think that they should just book Ankh against Khalil again and just wait till Oberg gets back January, and whoever wins Khalil v Ankh gets the title shot. I don't know, man, or at least the belt or interim belt, and we'll see where. I don't think Guskov made did any favors for himself this fight, so that was an interesting fight. Onto the much more exciting co-main event is Temerov knocked out Ursect in the first round, and it was a pretty brutal knockout for flyweight. Which you can expect with this little ball of EPO. Being built like Mini Pekka does help you a lot. This guy just like so tiny, he was just a ball of muscle. Um, but Z Versek, man, he's not the same anymore. And that's not to hate on the guy, I think he's still a decent fighter. But he's not the same as he was when he fought on Pantoja. Astro Boy is not gonna make the title again. I think he's gonna take the route of many UFC veterans. The we're so over, it's so back. Or it's over, we're so back. And but he gave the pathway to Tamarov. who seems to be a pretty exciting fighter. Who's coming up? He seems to be another power puncher. He doesn't have the gyno, some cop. Even though he definitely does use CPOs. He's got copy on that part. So I think he should fight Horiguchi. I want to be mad at fighting Horiguchi, or at least someone a bit higher ranked than Ursak, and but he's like pretty old now, so I don't know how much mileage he has left in him, or like he has mileage in him. I'm just saying that like I don't see him fighting for the belt soon, and he will only get older until then. So hopefully we'll see him in the title fight. But can we get Toriuchi? That would be an exciting flyweight bout. And imagine him with Copper. Anyways, we have moving on. We have Chancho versus Respecki. Pretty sure that's how you say it, even though it's RZP. It's dumb, anyways. Um, each Chancho showed amazing Muay Thai in this fight, which is like obviously his main draw from the Contender Series and from his regional bouts. It was his main draw with the fact that Dagestan known for wrestlers, but this guy has amazing striking Muay Thai, and it showed in the debut. But the breaks on Respecki, bro, spamming those elbows. I don't know why Respecki kept on going for that clinch. He didn't look bad in this fight. I'll say that, but he wasn't doing better in the clinch than he was from distance. Not that I don't think he would do better from distance, but it would at least been easier for him. But yeah, I think that Chancho will be an exciting fighter at 155. Him calling for him saying that he wants someone like high level. I don't think he will anytime soon. Maybe in coming years he'll be a contender, but right now, I think he'll be just he'll show levels in the Muay Thai game in the lightweight division. Can't and I know that the John Pork means overdue. I just put him there because I thought it'd be funny. Anyways, and Specky, I don't know where he'll go, to be honest. I couldn't find any film of him. And the film I did see, he looked okay. People were like, "Oh, kind of overhyping him." I think he will bounce back from this fight, but I don't. But he doesn't seem like elite UFC material. Well, let's see where he goes from here. But I think the Chancho will be like an excellent addition to the lightweight roster. I can't wait to see more of him. Next up, we have Fortune versus Kiniev, who Kiniev won via knockout. Pretty amazing knockout. He did a great performance in this fight. I'm pretty sure he got performance of the night or fight of the night, which was really well deserved just because of the beating that Tyrell took and the beating that Kiniev gave. Like I'm surprised he made the second round because like he looked finished in the first round, and I'm also surprised that the corner let it go on for that long. And you were just throwing knees. Kiniev was throwing knees, hitting, just like overwhelming him with sheer volume. And like you look at Kiniev, but this guy is a big boy. Like he definitely had the cut to make heavyweight. I mean, he is also roided up, whatever EPOs. Who cares? Yeah, at this point, who cares? Let them use it at heavyweight at least. That's a right for another video. But what I'm saying is that either way, I think that Kuniev made like every fat person who ordered Domino's, who thinks that they're part of the UFC, who thinks that they can do what's on screen, like actually believe it. The 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 270 guy who's watching UFC thinking who's past his prime looks at Kuniev as Rocky. He's like, that's me. I can beat Kuniev. You can't. How can it be realistic? But humor aside, it was a great match. I love this matchup. I think Kuniev should move up, or not move up. Well, move on to a more challenging opponent. Maybe someone in the top 15. Imagine getting Walker. That'd be funny. But anyways, very exciting fight. To then we got Bagia versus Iskakamayev. and Bagiev won via unanimous decision. Now, this was a fight of all time. This was a fight in the UFC. We, yes, you audience, we watched a fight of all time. You know, like I don't even know why they made it match. There's too many Russians on this fucking card. I think there has to be a limit of Russians on the cards. Okay, because literally, okay, I don't like to spell out the propaganda of the wrestling is boring, the grappling is boring, or whatever. I really don't. I think there's some great grappling matches. I think that grappling can be used in a fun way. Marab, Gamrot v. Sarukian, any one of those. But this is not doing good for my case, and like I hate agreeing with those people. And some of the most annoying fucks ever, you know. And I just don't know like what to even say, because like there's a certain amount of words I can say about this. I am completely speechful, about this fight. And so I won't waste as much time on it. Finishing off the main card is Bonfim versus Sola. And I don't even know what to say about this, okay? Because, okay, so Bonfim or Sola won via Darce choke. Very easy Darce choke. Like, it seems that, like, Bonfim just realized, like, that he was in a fight mid trying to get a single, like, because he was hugging onto that for, like, dear life. Getting patted on the head by Sola and realized, oh, I'm supposed to be taking damage. Got dropped instantly from nothing. And I don't know if Gabriel Bonfim's like feeding off Ismail's life form to get him like somewhat success, because Ismail is not getting like any favors done. Okay, he looks like he would ask you if you needed help with your Google account and ask you for your password and login information, and he got beat. My guy who like walking now looks like he got staff just by being in like a single fight that would even go to the second round. Like I don't know if like soap is a foreign concept to the French, or if just gyms in France don't like allow showers to be taken. They do a sniff test every time you walk in. You showered. Get the fuck out. Okay, ignore that. But it's just a not good thing. I think they should just cut Bonfim, Ismail at least, because like he's already on a downward trajectory. I don't think there's anything else to be said about it. He made a statement. Whatever. It was an okay fight at best. Then we have Walker versus Peterson. Thomas the Train Peterson. Like what are you gonna say anymore at this point? Walker has just about like a good base in BJJ, and somehow they get them a 5-5 win streak against Chuds. Now I won't say that Walter Walker's that good, because he's not that good, but he can. But like he's a chud killer, okay? He's a chud slayer, okay? He will come after you and me, okay? Yes, us. We are chuds, okay? He would come after us. The person who got inspired by Kuniev, the 270, who thinks he can be in the UFC, somehow got a contract, because apparently anyone can get a contract in heavyweight nowadays, You can go into your local Domino's line or your Little Caesars line, and you'll see UFC heavyweight there, or heavyweight on the Contender Series, or heavyweight on Tough. Okay, like these should be given out to anyone. So the guy who got inspired by Kuniev decided to join the UFC because he could just do that, because Dana White just does not care about the heavyweight division. And then they feed him joining Walter Walker so he can get in there the highlight and there the heel hook. And I'm not that mad about it. Anyways, am I mad about it? No. Want to know why? Because I think they just keep Walter just heel hooking chuds, because that's basically fun. This is the fourth calf slicer ever in the history of the UFC, and it was done on a chud. Okay, you're telling me that more highlights will come out of this, and just getting Walter on the mic? We might as well do that, UFC. Okay, Walter, he knows he'll get knocked out instantly versus Khan, Espinal, Hokit. It doesn't matter. So they just keep feeding Walter chuds, bro. Next up, we have Jacoby versus Sadiov. Now, This was a very interesting fight because, okay, so Saudi won via head kick KO. Okay, that was very impressive. I'll say that, and the combination was good. And it's just that Jacoby seems like so scared of this guy for like no reason. Like, like I will say he had like knocked out like every other opponent in his like division or whatever. You know, I mean Saudi, he has like what was it? It was like he's on win streak. Basically. He's undefeated. He's knocked out almost everyone in his opponent, but like all that Sadia would do was like spam the looping overhand, spam every looping punch he could, and Jacoby would just like pop him sometimes, you know. And I will say that the finishing sequence was pretty beautiful, and I think he got like I think that Sadia like got like a bit more discipline striking it towards the end of the fight, but I don't know, I just not very impressed, and like I think that and like look at this guy. He's the prettiest motherfucker you've ever seen, bro. And you're telling me you can be he's balding. Look at his haircut. Look at it. What is that? He's balding, he has a bad haircut. He looks like a vampire. I'm surprised that's probably why he won. He had like 1,000 years of experience of MMA before this. And Jacoby just did not do anything. I'm no, I'm not very sold on Sunday up just yet, to be honest. But maybe he'll get better. I hope so. I mean, there was a highlight KO. I hope he gets better. Just see more of those. Next up, we have Bonzambino. I'm pretty sure I don't know how to say his fucking name. And versus Patterson, where Patterson won. Where I think this really highlights how powerful the jab is, because that's all that Patterson was doing. You know, during this fight, he was busting up Bonzanibi's face. Like he was bleeding by like the last few rounds, and and that just shows how like powerful the jab is. You know, and I think I don't know if like Patterson's getting that much hate right now, but I think he's kind of like regaining some of his like credibility back, because I'll be honest, that MVP fight that was MVP's fault. You know, like I get it, I get why Patterson would be like afraid to engage with him. I get it. But like if like you put anyone up against Patterson, it will be a fun fight, except for MVP. Okay, and I hope the MVP improves too. You know, I'm not like hating on MVP. I think I like his style. You know, I think that Joe Rogan. I was trying to say this because if I don't, then Joe Rogan would find me, stab me in my heart, and leave me out. But what I'm saying is, I think that we should push Patterson more. I have high hope for Patterson. You know, he's kind of like a bit rough for 30. But I think that um, he'll make it pretty far, at least into contenders, you know, top 15, stuff like that. So it's a pretty fun fight, and I can't wait to see more of him, you know, because every fight he's in is pretty fun, except for MVP. Continuing, we have Magomed Tachalov versus Brenson Ribeiro. I don't know what to say about this fight, but I'm not sold on T'Challa. You know, like his regional. I don't know who he's fighting on the regional scene. You know, I was thinking he's fighting against your local construction worker. You know, the one guy who dressed in all Adidas fits, like taking those pictures, because like he was funny, kid, definitely. Considering that like five of his 6 wins or something like that were due to knockout, like, and but he couldn't knock out Ribeiro. You know, he first of all, I think the only reason why is because Brenton had the admin tattoo on his back. If you know, you know. And also, but like also like he's already hit Ribeiro has already hit the Brazilian 10. Shout out Manny Manziel, but and yet he was still scared to strike with him. Come on, man. I'm not sold on him. I don't think he's a good addition. And Ribeiro, I'm sorry, bro, but you just don't got it anymore. What is he? He's like 17 and 11 now. They should just look at cut him. It's Monte reached that the double digits. If your name's not Jim Miller, then you should just get rid of them. We're almost there, but next fight is ANKALAEV versus Davis. and ANKALAEV won via unanimous decision, and it's just another boring wrestling match, And I can't really complain about it, I can't complain about like ANKALAEV's trying to trying to not get any submission. I feel like he was allergic to trying to get any submissions, or any significant damage. But like obviously he won via just controlling him the entire time. But the thing is, and then like I think no matter how mad he can be, and I know that Davis like post like went on a few rants about like his performance here, but like at the end of the day, you can complain all you want about boring wrestling, or like you get fighters who more than you wrestle, but like it's also on their opponents, bro. Like if you don't want your crotch to get sniffed, you know that you can stop that. You know that it's your job to stop that. But every time they bring the wrestler, you know they're doing their job. Yeah, I get it, it's boring. I get it that they don't try to get any damage, but ultimately, it falls on the fighter on the ground who's getting his crotch sniffed, who probably couldn't, who probably never trained wrestling. How Davis fought, I think he like overheard someone talking about wrestling once, and that he called that training of for wrestling. I don't think that you can really blame ANKALAEV for just taking advantage of that. And Davis just needs to stop whining and like actually to learn how to defend takedowns. And for ANKALAEV, I'm not really sold on him. We didn't see much. We saw his grappling. That was good. He kind of looks like Khabib. Maybe he can be another Khabib. I don't know. I don't think so. But I'm not sold on him completely, to be honest. So last and kind of least is Gibson versus Hussein, where Hussein won via submission. And like, okay, so obviously Hussein was winning this entire fight. I can't deny that he was winning, but like also Gibson was holding his own for a while. Like he even dropped him with a well timed low kick. He made him do like a front flip. Am I really sold on Hussein? Not that much. Gibson, he's a nunk who's, I think they'll just use as a journeyman. Unfortunately, that's where most UFC unks go to after like their first few um, bouts of success. Sadly, but with Hussein, I think that he'll find his footing. Like I think some potential with him, but the fact that like he went to the third round, he went the distance. When a 38-year-old, he's 10 years his senior. Um, Hussein or not Hussein, Gibson was to Hussein. That I'm not very sold on him. Well, it was an impressive performance. I won't deny that. Some concluding thoughts and ranting is that like there was a 7 out of 10 card at best, and like that's like being nice. There were some good fights in there. Um, Temirov and Ursak, Walker getting a calf slicer. There was some highlights, but it was definitely more lowlights. Some boring decisions. And with the main event not really mean anything since they should have just rescheduled it. To be honest, they should have just rescheduled Khalil versus ANKALAEV instead of giving GUSKOV. It would have saved them like a bunch of trouble, a bunch of oil princes not wanting to watch UFC anymore. I know that Dana White's pissed right now after that, and I don't think Ankh is really in the good graces of the UFC right now, so I don't think he did any favors with this fight. So, concluding thoughts, y'all should subscribe because I'll try to post one of these every UFC event, and let me know if y'all want to see me stream also because I'm thinking about doing that. But anyways, thank you for watching. Stay big, buddy. I love you all.